Tea time. Welcome everybody! Souldin and the Grin Brothers here, and it's time for another episode of Tea Time. Now then, for today's Christmas calendar tea, I have with me Jasmine, Huang, Shan. Yeah. Which I'm looking forward to because I do like Jasmine tea, so... Sadly, the Poker Serene Jasmine tea that I absolutely love to bits seems to have been discontinued, but hopefully I'll be liking this Davos Windsor Jasmine Huang Shan. It's a green tea, of course, because, Jasmine tea, and its brew time recommended is 1 to 3 minutes. I've tried to brew it to 2 minutes, however, the clock in the kitchen is broken at the moment, or turned off, so I couldn't really tell exactly. But anyway, it's a refreshing, delicate, and floral tea made from leaves gathered at the mountains of Huang Shan. The leaves are steamed and then lightly scented with jasmine buds, picked just prior to blossoming. I look forward to trying out this tea, and I look forward to talking about this tea time. Another one that I had brewing in my mind for quite a bit, and one I'm not sure on the title, because the title could go either way based off what I'm about to look up. In fact, I'm actually doing this tea time very different than I was expecting to. Today's subject I was planning to research for, but you know what? Nintendo.com's website, sadly Nintendo.co.uk doesn't appear to have as efficient of a display as I was wanting, but Nintendo.com website had a handy little layout for what I'm about to talk about, so I figured whatever I talk about, I'll actually go through it within this very video, rather than just researching it beforehand and trying to do it all based off memory. So what is it I want to talk about? Well, my third tea time I ever made was called Amiibo Admiration. Yeah, nowadays when I think about Amiibos, I think they've kind of declined in a way. I don't really get as excited about them anymore, and I'm wondering why. And I don't see them as compatible with as many games anymore. It feels in a way, and for instance, game stores, I go into a game store, I have to pre-order Amiibos and don't really have them out on display anymore, Toys R Us used to have them out on display, but that, went bankrupt, so... But nowadays... I'm not sure if Amiibos have gone amiss or whether I just haven't noticed them as much and Amiibo are still amazing. Hence why this title could be very different. Is it Amiibo Amiss or Amiibo Amazing? Amiibo Amiss or Amiibo Amazing? That'll do for the title, and one will end up being highlighted over the other. Hopefully. Hopefully I'm not unable to decide. That'd be pretty sad. So let's see. Let's go through Nintendo.com's Amiibo compatible games list and see how they are being used. And whether that's a good thing or not. Okay, first one, funny enough, is Little Nightmares for Nintendo Switch pops up. Players will be able to play the two protagonists wearing an exclusive Paku mask, which becomes available in the extras menu once the Pac-Man amiibo is scanned. Now, this is a pretty basic usage of the amiibo function, and I'm going to get rid of this coat because the zip on it keeps hitting the chair. Now, this is a pretty basic amiibo function, just scanning in, getting a costume. I think it's a very minor detail, and I don't think it's one that is too big a deal in terms of both, going out your way to get an amiibo, but also it's not too big of a loss if you don't have it. I do worry about in the future, much like of any digital sort of matter, for instance, whether, there would be a lack of said amiibos and so people are locked out of this bit of content. But at the same time, it's not like a horrendous situation. It's, all you're missing out on is a costume if you don't have the amiibo. And you happen to have the amiibo, you get a costume in this game. And that's actually kind of what I ended up speaking about in Amiibo Admiration. While, a lot of people were worried that Amiibos would end up just being a DLC, effectively. But I thought to myself, well, that isn't too big of a problem. So long as Amiibos are used multiple times across a great range of games, then it's a bit of DLC, say a 12 quid DLC, that you can use across numerous games. And the way it kind of works is kind of like how... in certain games, if you have game data of old games, it would unlock something in the newer game. For instance, in Super Smash Bros. Melee, I believe if you had Pikmin one day, you had a Pikmin trophy. Or in, the Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi games, you unlock stuff if you had previous entries saved data on your system. And I think that's actually a really cool idea. So Amiibo is being used as sort of DLC for, simple things such as costumes. Across a wide range of games isn't a bad idea. You may have a Pac-Man amiibo already for Super Smash Bros. And so that's great. You get Little Nightmares and you get a bonus for having that Pac-Man amiibo already with Super Smash Bros. In mind. Or vice versa. Your Pokemon amiibo isn't exclusive to one game. It's DLC across multiple games, effectively. Next up, we've got Detective Pikachu. Now, this is funny because we added quite a bit of time afterwards. I believe the Detective Pikachu amiibo wasn't introduced until around the time of the movie's announcement. In Detective Pikachu, if you have a Detective Pikachu amiibo, you'll be able to view all of the Pika prompts, videos of Pikachu saying and doing various things you've seen or might have missed during the story. In Pika prompts, Pikachu won't only give helpful hints, he'll also say some cool things, or just goof around. This is a bit of a lackluster one. This feels like a sort of bit of in-game stuff that could have just been added in via a patch. You know, it's basically just a movie replayer, a cutscene replayer. So that, I think, is a pretty poor usage of the amiibo, because that doesn't really... It's not exactly exciting like a costume, and it feels like something that should have just been in the game to begin with. Kirby Stylize. Use compatible amiibo figures to get additional illustration pieces and helpful in-game items. Again, not exactly a great one. It's not really something that is more specific to the amiibo. It's handy, you know, having the healing items and such, but... you know, it's like any amiibo could really do that. You know, you shouldn't technically need a Kirby amiibo to do such a generic function. There's nothing that really adds pizzazz to it, so not a very good one. Styling Star. Oh, really? Is that what they call it? Oh, fair enough. It goes by a different name in the UK, I'm pretty sure. Let me just... Yeah, Style Boutique. Yeah, we know as Style Boutique in the UK. Yeah, Nintendo presents new style boutique-free styling style. We know, yeah, that's how we know it in the UK. With that. In any case, tap any amiibo figure or card to receive an emblem or design pattern. Certain amiibo figures and cards unlock emblems and patterns based off certain Nintendo series. This one, again, it's great if you already own the amiibo and it fits in well with the theme of the game. I mean, it'd be a bit annoying given that's kind of the purpose of the game if you couldn't unlock it anyway in-game and you could only do so for the figurine. But again, it kind of ties to that point that so long as it uses amiibo from a wide range of series, and you know, and the amiibos are getting multi-use, they're okay being used as a form of DLC. And let's actually check the compatible amiibo figurines. The Animal Crossing card series, the Mario series, Alm, Bayonetta, Blavers, Boca Goblins. Oh wow, there's tons. Are they specific ones? No, that's the thing. Like, there's a lot of amiibos here, but I'm not sure how many work specifically. I think the problem is a lot of amiibos get used as very in generic fashions. Like, it's not really anything worth going over if the amiibo just, it looks a generic item, which I'd assume so for stuff like the Shovel Knight ones that haven't even come out yet. I somewhat doubt Nintendo are still updating it to make sure unique stuff happens. But if a diverse range of amiibos like that was being used for all sorts of things, that'd be pretty great. My problem is that I sort of feel is that it seems to me that a lot of the amiibos that get the multi-use are just the mainstream popular ones of, say, the Mario series or the Legend of Zelda series ones. It's not like, say... You know, part of the appeal of Amiibo, and why I made Amiibo Admiration, is that it was giving promotion to obscure characters because of its focus on Super Smash Bros. First. Like, you know, Little Mac Amiibo, ironically, part of what prompted me to make this tea time today was actually my niece constantly loves to play around with my Amiibo, but I think she accidentally dropped the Little Mac in the bin and it's been thrown away, which is a real shame. So I'm having to get a Little Mac replacement. But in any case, yeah, your Little Mac Amiibo, Wii Fit Trainer Amiibo, you know... Obscure Ice Climbers Amiibo, you know, obscure characters who don't get much love and is really hard to find merchandise for, got merchandise for Amiibo, and it would have been great to see those Amiibos being further utilised, but it seems to be the same ones over and over again are being utilised. You know, each of the Mario series Amiibos get used through multiple games, or, you know, that Pac-Man Amiibo, I think Little Nightmares is the first time the Pac-Man Amiibo got used outside of Super Smash Bros. Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and Ultimate, and that's a real shame. It'd be great to see other Namco Bandai games, you know, taking advantage of this Amiibo usage, and likewise more Nintendo properties utilising not just, say, the Mario series Amiibos, but also their smaller obscure characters. For instance, in the Nintendo Boutique series, it could have been the case that doing so, you know, you could get like a Popo and Nano sort of Parker sort of thing. It's different. It's an obscure character being promoted, which I think would have been a much cooler idea than just using all the popular mainstay ones to get promoting all sorts of things. Kirby Battle Royale for... Now, this one I didn't even know. The Kirby series Amiibo figures and Kirby character Amiibos from Super Smash Bros. Series are compatible with the game. Tap the corresponding Amiibo to receive exclusive in-game headwear of Galactonite, Cafe Waddle-Dee, Ultra Sword Kirby, or Masking Diddy. Now, this one is slightly annoying because it actually does affect stats, the costumes. I mean, cosmetically, I don't mind, but if it's affecting stats, that's a little bit annoying with no other way to unlock them in-game. I'm sure there's a way to unlock them in-game because I've seen them on the screens. It was also pretty annoying because the 3DS isn't natural to Amiibo compatibility. It's less of an issue with the Wii U or the Nintendo Switch. They were naturally compatible with the Amiibo connectivity, but a surprising amount of Amiibo connectivity was made for the 3DS when only the new 3DS onwards had Amiibo compatibility. You know, it's annoying thinking this system as standard has to have a adapter for it to take advantage of something that's being promoted in a lot of games. Skyrim. Now, okay, now this one is one that I'm going to make an excuse for the costume thing because it's actually really cool. Tap comparable Legend of Zelda character amiibo figures, sold separately, one steady for chance to gain gear inspired by the series. Take down enemies with the Master Sword, protect yourself with the Highland Shield, and feel heroic in the champion thing. Now, this isn't exactly, okay, I'll take back kind of what I said. I'm not a fan of the idea of, chance to gain gear by inspired by the series. You don't just get given it, you have to suddenly search for it sort of thing. That's kind of annoying. And a chance suggests that it's on a bit of a roulette. That's kind of annoying as well. But I do like the idea that it gives a special blend, a unique touch to this third-party entry on the Nintendo system by having it with a costume for a Nintendo series. Another amiibo usage that I really liked, which we never got overseas, but a One Piece fighting game on the 3DS had amiibo compatible costumes for each of the Straw Hats. And so they ended up using quite a few of the amiibos, giving them unique costumes to really promote the fact that this is a third-party game, admittedly, but it's on a Nintendo system, so it's been given a bit of Nintendo flair. And likewise with the Skyrim Switch Edition, you can give Skyrim a bit of Nintendo flair, which I really like. That's a good way of using the costumes, whereas normally it's kind of like, oh, really? You're paying like 15 quid for a costume, 12 to 15 quid for a costume? But like in this case, it's giving a third party a bit of Nintendo flair in a pretty unique way. And again, a Nintendo fan is more likely to own a Link amiibo already. It's a pretty common one. Let's see, Mario Party, the top 100, tap a compatible amiibo figures to receive in-game bonuses on Minigame Island. That kind of sounds like something that should be done in-game or cheating. Not a huge fan. Super Mario Odyssey. Tap compatible amiibo accessories to access a variety of helpful optional gameplay assists. Some amiibo also unlock outfits for Mario when tapped. Not a problem so long as Mario can unlock them in-game for the most part, I feel. Now this is something I'm not a big fan of. 3 new amiibo figures, Mario, Princess Peach and Bowser in their wedding outfits will be released both individually and as a set. Now the thing is, I'm not a fan of the idea of, say, if the case is that the wedding Mario, I haven't researched it fully, if the case is that the wedding Mario functions as a regular Mario, that's okay. But if Wedding Mario functions as a separate amiibo to regular Mario, that I don't agree with. Like, there is a huge library of Nintendo characters, but Mario already exists. I can understand making new poses for Mario. You got the Smash Bros. Mario, and then you make a Mario series Mario, make a different pose. But don't make them separate amiibos. They should both be utilizing the same exact function. And if you want a new amiibo to promote with a completely different function, promote a completely different character. Again, Nintendo's got a massive backlog. The Mario series has a backlog of characters. Just take advantage of the fact that you can promote different characters by making amiibos for all these different characters rather than promoting the same ones just in we've made it slightly different, but it's going to be function slightly differently. That I dislike. I'm not a fan of these sort of amiibos where they function slightly differently, even though they're the exact same, technically the exact same amiibo, as it were, just with different clothing or different posing to it. Let's see, Fire Emblem Warriors. Again, this one is not as fan of compared to, say, the costumes. You tap Chrom or Tiki and you get sort of in-game weapons. Hero Warriors did a similar thing. It's kind of annoying that Link could only unlock a certain unique weapon and Zelda can through the amiibos. Cosmetically, I wouldn't mind, but a weapon that can change the gameplay feels a bit iffy, having that with no in-game way. If it was an early access means, sort of like how the Shadow Mewtwo amiibo card worked in Pokken Tournament, and that I'd approve. You eventually can unlock Shadow Mewtwo without using the amiibo card. And I feel, unless it's just a purely cosmetic thing, then something that affects gameplay to that level should probably be done as more of an early access rather than an exclusive. Even though, it does fall into my idea of this is DLC that works for multiple games. Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga. Rest in peace, Alpha Dream. Tap a compatible amiibo figure to gain new equipment items and beans. Yes, beans. Okay, again, just kind of new items and such. Monster Hunter Stories. Tap compatible amiibo accessory for bonus items such as ancient potions, dust of life, and other high-grade materials helpful to your quest. Again, that just feels like that's just like a little. You got an amiibo, you might as well tap it. You get an extra item. It's handy and it helps players who are struggling, sort of thing. And like in Kirby Star Allies, if you're trying to do the hardest mode, you can use amiibos to give you advantage, though they will say you've used an amiibo for this run. However, it's not exactly a great selling point. It feels more like, oh, you just happen to have an amiibo. That doesn't really feel like I feel an amiibo should be used for, per se, as a primary focus. It feels like this is the tacked-on excuse for an amiibo. Okay used here and there across games, but there needs to be a bigger drive to utilize amiibos. And oh gosh, this list is Mario & Rabbids Kingdom unlock new in-game features. Sadly, it doesn't explain more than that. Pokken Tournament DX, the other feature is, every day you can unlock so many items and such, clothing and such, titles. It's annoying because it doesn't appear to be what you... Well, actually, no, you can... I think there's like one or two that may be exclusive, but otherwise you can just unlock these over time and buy them, if I recall correctly. But it's a very generic usage. Shadow Mewtwo was the more specific usage, and is the better way to do content that affects gameplay. Make it early access. You got this amiibo, you get early access to it, not you could bar it completely. Let's see, Metro Samus Returns. It only says comparable, not extra content. I think it's like, stuff like missile recharge. The Splatoon one's interesting. On the one hand, the way they did it kind of feels like it should have been. It's just stuff in game. It doesn't really feel. Well, the advantage of Amiibo is that you can take it anywhere you go. But what's the point of taking those Splatoon figures anywhere you go? I guess one way that I feel could be done pretty well is if you could take a Splatoon amiibo and save your character to it. It saves their costume, and if you go to a friend's house or something, you can just quickly tap the amiibo. You've got your character sort of in-game. Maybe it's a way to even do local co-op and even local co-op online, though sadly that never got promoted to my knowledge. I'm not sure the Nintendo Switch can do it either. But it would have been a cool way to... you save your character onto the amiibo, so you can take your amiibo anywhere, and if you're by a friend's house, you can do local co-op there and then, and your character will be there. You can save the stats, and you can go back to your house and save the score. That way you can do it without even an online connection, which would be pretty fantastic. But that's sadly not how they did it. It's just this amiibo unlocks challenges, which give you cool items and such. Kirby's Blast, I never got that game. Tap a Kirby series amiibo to build a statue in the plaza that plays music. Okay, a nice, charming little touch, nothing too big again. Okay, Miitopia, tap compatible Amiibo figures to receive in-game items. Some Amiibo yield Mii costumes based on the characters. Others offer tickets to play minigames in the arcade. Okay, again, it's just the costumes. Again, it's not a problem. Minor. Okay, tap the Pikmin or Olimar Amiibo figure during expeditions to call in backup Pikmin. Level up a Pikmin Amiibo. This is Hey Pikmin Boy. Level up a Pikmin Amiibo figure by gathering Pikmin in Pikmin Park, allowing to call upon more Pikmin expeditions. Not quite sure what that's about. That just seems to be, again, another helpful bonus or thing. Fire Emblem Echoes Shadow Finisher, Alm and Celica figures unlock a special dungeon where players can battle bosses and collect items. Fire Emblem Amiibo characters from Super Smash Bros. Can be used to summon an illusory hero of that character during battle. And other compatible Amiibo can be used to summon an additional monster ally to fight alongside you for one turn. Again, mostly just, it feels like locked content sort of thing, unlock a special dungeon. And the problem is, I don't think the Alm and Celica Amiibo have had much use outside of that one game. You can somewhat, and again, it's easier to justify it being wide-ranging DLC when it is just costumes. Harder when it is actually barring something like a special dungeon, which probably should have been in-game, unless you could save data onto the special dungeon. Twilight Princess HD actually did it somewhat better in the fact that you saved your completion progress onto that dungeon, onto that amiibo, and then to show that you actually accomplished that, with Breath of the Wild, you then tapped that amiibo and it showed that you accomplished that and then gave you the Wolf-Link companion. So it felt more like, there was a reason for its ability to save data. If the Alm and Celica amiibo had definitive usages, like specific to them usages in both Fire Emblem Warriors and Fire Emblem Three Houses, that I would say would at least justify and more so having a special dungeon unlock, but still not my best way of doing it. Again, it's all a matter of how often and how well utilized the amiibos are used across a wide range of things. Most of these Bye Bye Box Boy costumes, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe costumes, Mario Sports Superstar, new Amiibo cards. Again, Zelda Breath of the Wild. Tap the Wolf-Link Amiibo to make Wolf-Link appear in the game. Wolf-Link can attack enemies on his own and help you find items you're searching for. Again, that actually worked a lot better when done in conjunction with Twilight Princess HD, wherein you had to accomplish something in order to do it. And it actually had some sort of merit to having the save feature. Poochie in Yoshi's Woolly World. It's the Yoshi Woolly World, I think it was probably one of the better costume ones because it used such a wide range of amiibos. Again, it is one of the best ones because the obscure amiibos got usages out of them. Let's see, Animal Crossing New Leaf, Mario Party Star Rush, Azure Striker Gunvolt. You get the chance to fight Shovel Knight, and you get items from him. I mean, it adds a bit of challenge, but seems again something that you could have easily added in, into the game itself. There's not much point in actually saving the data to Shovel Knight, unless again, if you did that challenge and then saved data to Shovel Knight and then tap the Shovel Knight amiibo onto a Shovel Knight game, and then say you got an Azure Striker Gunvolt skin, or got to fight an Azure Striker because you beat Shovel Knight sort of in the Azure Striker Gunvolt. That would be a good way of utilizing it and crossing them over. But on its own, just having Shovel Knight appear solely in Azure Striker, it's not utilizing the save feature, and as such, it just feels like something that could easily be done through just, Oh, wait, no, here. Okay, now I'm a little bit confused. Oh, okay, there was more? Oh, there was more than one of the Nintendo Boutique games? Okay, fair enough. And this one at least says the specific one. Again, let's see. Style savvy, fashion forward, not the actual UK name, but we'll go with it here. Compatible figures that offer unique items. Mario, Peach, Yoshi, Kirby, Rosalina, Lucina, Zelda, Samus, Zero Suit Samus, Wii Fit Trainer, Palutena, Sheik, England Girl, and Isabelle. I mean, Wii Fit Trainer's there. You know, it's already utilising the obscure character, and that's good. And it's utilising not just, say, from one specific series, but a wide range of series thanks to Super Smash Bros. Super Smash Bros. Pulling together so many interesting characters was a big boost for it. Let's see if I can try to find some more specific ones. Let's see. Star Fox Zero is unfortunately another example of a slightly bad one. Whilst changing your R-Wing to a retro R-Wing is a great sort of feature, using the Straco Amiibo to get a black sort of R-Wing which gives you a harder challenge, again, that feels like more something you should be doing as in-game. You know, it's a harder difficulty option. That should just be in-game. Alternatively, again, early access should have been the way to go. Star Fox Guard is just things to help you out. Unlock little things, costumes, receive weapons and rubies, the Tower Warriors Legends. Mega Man Legacy Collection, scan your Mega Man Amiibo, your Mega Man Gold Amiibo to unlock 11 exclusive challenges. Again, that's just unlocking stuff. Again, Twilight Princess HD did a bit better. You have to save the data to it after having used it. Fire Emblem, you get unique specific characters, which again is kind of cool, but again feels more like it should be done as, you know, only really helps sells itself if it connects to the other games. Yeah, lots of other ones are just... Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival was an attempt at making an Amiibo-focused game, and unfortunately falls a bit flat. Again, it doesn't utilises the read feature well enough. Let's see Chibi-Robo. Tap the Chibi-Robo Amiibo to power up Chibi-Robo into Super Chibi-Robo, or use a toy capsule machine to unlock the in-game collectible figures. Sadly, not a good usage, but I'm glad that Chibi-Robo at least got an Amiibo, because he was a pretty obscure character. Xenoblade Chronicles just earned stuff. Codename Steam, okay, I will say this one is slightly better, even though it is this kind of a similar thing to, say, the way the Fire Emblem Amiibos were used, some of the other series, because at least it adds a crossover element to it. Again, you know, it's better when it's a third party, but tap a Fire Emblem Amiibo figure to the new Nintendo 3DS XL system to add them to your team and play as them in battle. So Codename Steam could suddenly have Marth, Ike, Robin, or Lucina into the game itself, which is a good way to, you know, cross over the series sort of thing. As a bonus content that I don't mind as much as like with the final ones where it kind of feels like, oh, these could have been done in naturally. I mean, Codename Steam could have also done it naturally, but it feels more, I don't know, it makes more sense to not have it in game naturally when it's a crossover element, much like with the third party ones. Kirby ones, just power ups and bonuses. Captain Toad, special hide and seek challenges. Oh wow, okay, the list is a little bit smaller than before. And of course, the Super Smash Bros. One is only the best usage of the Amiibos in a solo game itself. I mean, I feel the Yoshi's Woolly World has one of the best usage in terms of promoting the broad range of uses of Amiibo, because it utilises so many different Amiibos and allows for so many different costumes. But in terms of an in-solo game usage, Super Smash Bros. With its reading function is the best Amiibo usage. Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival was supposed to be the game to promote Amiibo usage, and it sadly falls a bit flat. Now then, I'm going to try my Jasmine Huang Shan Ya tea. That is a lovely jasmine tea. Not quite a serene jasmine taste. Oh, that flavour really lingers for a while. It's a nice bitter taste. Not like... I'd say English breakfast on its without milk is, I guess, bad bitter. It's a bit too sharp, not too pleasant. Kind of makes you scrunch up your face. This is a pleasant beer taste. It appears more gradually and it lingers for a nice while. The flavours sort of like camp out on your tongue, as it were. But it doesn't, suddenly appear. It feels quite soothing. There's a pleasant aroma to it as well. I still feel Serene Jasmine had the better taste overall, but this is actually a pretty good one. Again, I feel the green teas are often better when they start to cool down a bit. They're not quite as pleasant when they're hot. You can't quite get the taste as well if you can't let the flow of the flavour go through your mouth. If it's too hot, you're obviously only taking it in quick sips to avoid it burning your mouth, and, No, you can't let the flavour linger long enough. But jasmine tea, this Jasmine Huang Shan Ya tea, is a pretty nice jasmine tea. Definitely one of the better ones I've had. Really pleasant. But there's not much more to say. It's a nice bitter green tea with a gradual flavour to it, but a lingering flavour, which is all jolly good. So ultimately my thoughts, is Amiibo Amiss or amazing? Well, looking over it, I can see why I'm not getting excited by the Amiibos. And I feel a lot more third-party interaction could have been used. A lot of these, ironically, not many new Amiibos have been introduced. I mean, technically new Amiibos have been introduced, but it's always like, here's the Mario, here's the Zelda Amiibo, here's them in different costumes. It's like, really? You've got, Nintendo, you've got a massive franchise. Couldn't you do a bit more than that? It's strange. I thought Dark Souls also used Amiibo compatibility, and yet I don't see it on this list. I'll have Dark Souls Amiibo compatibility pop up, because it's got an Amiibo for it, so clearly it must have, right? Right? Because most of the time Amiibos are being just used for, stuff that really should just be unlocked in-game. Whereas I feel that a way to fix that is make it early access rather than, it's locked behind the Amiibos. More stuff needs to be done with the Amiibo's read technology. Even if it's not done, like, say, to the level of Super Smash Bros. Something like Twilight Princess, where where I'm not 100% sure if it works like this, but it affects your Wolf Link Amiibo depending on how you've actually accomplished the dungeon from Twilight Princess, and something to connect multiple games together. More so, maybe even by crossover elements, or maybe even as a way to sequence games data. Admittedly, one of the advantages of Amiibo has is they can take stuff that was done for the 3DS games and bring it over to the Switch games or the Wii U games. Sadly, I think it's a bit too late from that. I feel they kind of moved on from it. And it feels more like they're selling Amiibos purely as a collectible nowadays anyway. Which is a real shame, because I really felt they had a good way to do a lot of interesting things with Amiibos, as well as to enhance a lot of experiences through, you collected this Amiibo, well, that improves your experience with these games. It's, not in sort of like dramatic ways for the most part, but even in small touches would have been appreciated. But some of these small touches are kind of annoying. And I feel I've addressed my problems with the Amiibo. So at the moment, I feel that there's still potential in the Amiibos, more obscure characters, more franchises being promoted through it, to utilise the Amiibos in future Switch games and maybe crossing over elements to them, and maybe, hopefully one day more Amiibo games wherein the Amiibo's read feature actually gets some usage out of it. I feel that would turn the Amiibo Amiss to amazing, but unfortunately, as it currently stands, Amiibos are basically just glorified costume dispensers at best, and at worst, they're barring content that should be available through some means without the Amiibo. Okay then, I think that just about does it. I've enjoyed my Jasmine tea, and I've finished my Amiibo Amiss video. Tell me though, however, if you think that the Amiibo usage is actually an Amiibo amazing at the moment, and not an Amiibo miss like I'm feeling. Maybe I'm being too harsh. Or, hey, maybe you agree with me and agree that this video should be Amiibo Amiss. How do you think the Amiibo should be utilised? Can you think of any other interesting read features or Amiibo compatibility features you would like to see? And is there any particular Amiibo features that you love from games so far? In any case, I hope you enjoyed this tea time. It ended up being pretty lengthy, but I had a pretty long list to go through. And cheerio!